Hey, I'm Zach Blevins, and I'm here to present to you today electrical hazards and shock prevention. First, we'll do a brief history on this subject. Before October of 1881, there was no real means of regulation for any kind of minimum on anything safety related towards electricity or any kind of installation. But on the 19th of October of 1881, there were 5 minimums stated by the New York Board of Fire Underwriters. And these 5 minimums were the basis for the National Electrical Code. And it's been called the National Electrical Code since 1897. Now, the NEC is a fully unanimous book of industry standards and safety measures, and it's updated every 3 years and published. Jim Lynette sums up the code very nicely by saying, "It simply represents the best opinion of the industry as to how our innumerable electrical devices and materials can be installed with adequate safety to the general public." And this is taken from Mike Colt's NEC History and Purpose published in 1999. So now we'll get into a couple safety measures and precautions that can be taken. So PPE. Now, what does this stand for? It's personal protective equipment. Now, this is one of the most overlooked areas of electrical safety. So what is some PPE, or personal protective equipment, that relates to electrical safety? Well, gloves are one of them. They have to be non-conductive gloves, and they should be worn at all times. Now, these serve as a barrier between your hands and the electricity, so there's less of an area for electricity to run into your body. And a good thing for the gloves to be made out of is either rubber coated or leather, because this is a very good insulator for your hands. Also, rubber soled shoes or boots. Now, it has to be a rubber sole because this rubber is the best insulator possible between your feet and the ground, so the electricity can't get to ground. But you have to be very careful when you're buying shoes that they're not electrical hazard rated. They don't have a steel toe or a steel shank in them, because this steel will conduct electricity and will attract electricity, and it puts you further at risk. And also, safety glasses. We never think of it, we just throw them in our bags and go on. But our eyes are a very important part of the task, and they have to be protected, because without your eyes you can't see, and without seeing you can't work. So take a couple extra minutes, put on your safety glasses, and be safe. Now we'll go over the 5-step safe work procedure. Now, this is stated in the DOE Handbook for Electrical Safety, which is published in 2013, and it gives 5 steps for safe working practices. Now, although this process may take a little bit more time instead of just going into work, getting the task done, and leaving, it ensures safer working practices, and it protects not only the worker, but everyone around them. So, step 1, define the work scope. The worker must ensure adequate time has been provided to complete the task, and also ensure that the work itself has been adequately planned out for each step of the project. Now, why is this necessary? Well, it's a safeguard, really, to ensure that the work is not going to be rushed, and which allows, if it is rushed, it allows a greater risk of mistakes. And also, it further ensures that risk and issues will not come up during the work. Step 2, identify the hazards. All hazards should be identified prior to working on the equipment, and this is a lot of times accomplished by referring to the system drawings. Now, by initially identifying the hazards before the procedure takes place, the workers will be less at risk to be surprised or unaware of hazards that may present themselves and may cause injury to them. Step number 3, establish controls. The equipment is to be tested and its condition verified before and after the procedure has taken place. Now, personal protective equipment and safety apparel is to be inspected to ensure that it's going to protect you in the ways that it's supposed to and will not fail halfway during the job. And also, emergency procedures should be known prior to the start of the work. Now, this is all pretty self-explanatory as to why it involves worker safety and how it can benefit you. Step number 4. Perform the work safely. You need to keep your area clean, neat, free from debris and hazards. Don't rush the work, take your time. And anticipate issues that no surprises present themselves. Now, being clean, neat, and taking enough time not only protects the worker, but also protects everyone in the area that has being worked on. Step number 5, give feedback for the completed task. Document the work that has been completed and post a job briefing on it. Now, a lot of people look over this aspect, but it really not only helps your supervisor to better know what has happened while you were working, but also the people that come in after you that might need to work on the same machine can view this job posting and the job briefing and see what issues you faced so that they may expect it too and not be surprised and be at greater risk of having an injury or worse occur. So now the lockout tagout method. Now we all know that electricity should always be off when working on it, no matter what. If it is at all possible, turn it off. But OSHA, or the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, has developed the federal lockout tagout standard to better enforce this. Now the lockout part looks a lot of times as an actual lock that prevents others from being able to access or to switch on the circuit that is being worked on or the device that's being worked on. And the tag on this lock documents who, where, and when the circuit has been or is currently being worked on. Now this prevents someone from coming up, seeing a breaker turned off, switching it on, and electrocuting someone that is working on the circuit, or themselves being electrocuted by switching that on. And OSHA estimates that this standard saves 120 lives per year, and over 50,000 injuries per year are prevented. So the lockout tagout should never be overlooked or ignored under any circumstance, even if time is a pressing matter. So, what have we learned? Personal protective equipment should be worn at all times, if at all possible. The 5-step procedure: define the work scope, identify all the hazards, establish controls, perform the work safely, and give feedback for the completed task. And always comply with the federal lockout and tagout procedures. By doing this, you will not only protect yourselves, but those around you. Here are my references. Thank you.